Hello students, I am Rahul Pandey. Today I will start the second chapter Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood composed written by Anis Jung. Okay, so in this chapter the authoress Anis Jung describe the condition of that children who were stricken by poverty and they did not get an opportunity to spend a comfortable life since their childhood, and they are also forbidden from the rights of education. So in this chapter, in the first paragraph, the story starts from a heading, sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. The question is uttered by the narrator and the authoress of this chapter, Anis Jung. Why do you do this? I asked Sahib, whom I encounter every morning scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. Means the authoress Anis Jung told us that whenever I used to see Sahib, who was scrounging for some gold from the garbage dumps, so I used to ask him that what are you doing here? Okay, and after that Sahib left his home long ago, set amidst the green fields of Dhaka. And the Anis Jung also described about the boy Sahib who left his hometown, okay, home country, Dhaka, and his home is not even a distant memory. There were many storms that swept away their fields and homes, his mother tells him. And once upon a time in Dhaka, whenever he was in Dhaka, means the Sahib's mother told the Anis Jung that once upon a time there was a storm swept away the fields and homes of the Sahib, and that is why they left looking for gold in the big city where he now lives, and that is why they left Dhaka and they came in India, in Delhi near Simapuri area. And these children are now become the rag pickers. Okay, I have nothing else to do, he mutters, looking away. Go to school, I say glibly, realizing immediately how hollow the advice must sound. And whenever the Sahib said that, means I have not any work to do, that is why I chose the occupation of picking the garbage. So at that time, the mother, means the mother also give me permission that you can do a job of rag picking. Whenever Anis Jung listened this, she advised to Sahib that you should go to school, realizing immediately how hollow the advice must sound. But Anis Jung said that I knew it very well that there is no any power, okay, in my advice, but although I gave him the advice. So Sahib said that how can I go to a school, ma'am? Because there is no school in my neighborhood. When they build one, I will go. Okay. Whenever any school will build, I will definitely go there. So Anis Jung asked a question. Okay, if I start a school, will you come? I asked, half joking. Yes, he says, smiling broadly. And Anis Jung asked a question that okay, no problem. Now tell me that if I start a school, will you join this school? She asked. Oh, he says, of course, ma'am. Whenever you start a school, I will definitely join your school. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? It takes longer to build a school. I say, embarrassed at having made a promise that was not meant. After some day, when Sahib saw me, okay, he came near me running and he began to ask me that, hello ma'am, you promised me that you will build a school. So now tell me, Did your school complete build up? Now tell me, I want to read in your school. Then the narrator, the writer, authoress Anis Jung said that, Beta, it is not possible to build a school in a short time. It takes a longer time no, to build a school. That is why I say embarrassed at having made a promise that was not meant. And I thought that means it is not good to promise, okay, to make a promise to anyone. But promises like mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. And the narrator said that it is my hobby that I used to give a promise many person, okay, many person. Whenever I see the pathetic condition of any person, I used to give him or her promise. After months of knowing him, I asked him his name. Or the narrator said that means whenever the recognition between me and Sahib is spent near about 1 month, one day I asked his name. Then he said to me that my name is Shahib A. Alam. Oh, good name. He does not know what it means. If he knew its meaning, Lord of the universe. I asked that, do you know the real meaning of your name? Then he said, sorry, ma'am, I do not know. Then I said to him that the meaning of your name is Lord of the universe. And he would have a hard time believing it, unaware of what his name represents. He roams the streets with his friends, an army of barefoot boys who appear like the morning birds and disappear at noon. And he doesn't know the real meaning of his name because every day, every time he used to wander here and there barefoot with the company of his friends, all right. And at morning you can see them, but at noon they disappear. Over the months, I have come to recognize each of them. After spending it about 1 month, the Nizdan said that now I was able to recognize each and every boy of Sahib Alam team. Why are you not wearing chappals? I asked one. My mother did not bring them down from the shelf. He answered simply. Whenever I asked one day that what is the reason that you do not wear a slipper, okay, now tell me beta. Then the friend of Sahib Alam said that means we cannot wear a slipper, ma'am, because my mother doesn't allow us, okay, to wear slipper because she kept it over the shelf at our house. Oh, even if she did not did, he will throw them off. And adds another who is wearing shoes that do not match. And the second boy of the Shahib Alam friend told me that even the mother of Shahib Alam will give him the slipper. Do you know, ma'am? He will not wear it. He will throw them off. Whenever he said this word, Anizang saw the feet of that boy and who is wearing a shoes of two different color, means unmatched shoes. When I comment on it, he shuffles his feet and says nothing. And whenever I say that beta, your shoe has two different kinds of color, then he said to me that, oh ma'am, what happened? Actually, I want shoes. Says a third boy who has never owned a pair all his life. It doesn't matter that it have different colors. We need a shoe. We have shoe. It is a matter of happiness for us. Traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot in cities on village roads. It is not lack of money, but a tradition to stay barefoot. Anizang told that means whenever I used to visit the city, the village, everywhere, I used to see that every boy used to roaming here and there on barefoot, all right. And really it doesn't mean that they have a lack of money. Actually it was a tradition among them to stay barefoot in one explanation, all right. I wonder if this is only an excuse to explain away a perpetual state of poverty. And really, I am very, sad, and I became very shocked seeing this condition of the poor rag picker's boy who doesn't wear slippers or shoes during his occupation. So dear students, it is the end of first part of this chapter by the help of the video, and tomorrow I will continue the next paragraph by the help of video. So dear students, keep learning and keep practicing. Thank you.